Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto, and the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto, and the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto, and the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto. And the way on them, like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto. And the way on them, like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society.
BNM must go. Tell them go. BNM must go. Everyone's coming out to bring about change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, one top government. Feel policy, a government to the joke, a government to the fight. A government to the road, a government with integrity. Oh, look how they understand. A government in city and tea, no without the bullet man everybody. BNM must go. Tell them go. BNM must
equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better vibes, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better vibes, yeah, share the light.
Blessed good afternoon to each and everyone. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Today being Sunday, of course, is as good as any other day. Of course, today it's the day that the Lord has made. And the psalmist said that I will rejoice and be glad in it. I want to welcome, first of all our listeners, all our supporters, locally, regionally, and internationally. Welcome to Facts, Not Fiction. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you about the Douglas Report. The Douglas Report is here with the intention to bring facts to you, the public, something that you would not wholeheartedly get from our print media houses in this country. The Douglas Report will bring you information that is based solely and wholly upon the facts and the truth in every aspect. And of course, this week we had if I shall say, on page 5, we have the candidates for Debe South, Kemraj, a man who I know for a fact will bring that seat home without a shadow of a doubt, Mr. Sicharan. Right, so his name is Kemraj Sunil Sicharan. You could catch his story on page 5. Also on page 4, pre-action protocol letter for Jacob. And you could catch that story with Dinesh Rambali. On page 3, you can catch yours truly, 3 days fast for democracy, of course, at the Hall of Justice. And probably tomorrow you will hear some more about the intricacies surrounding that event. And on page 5, Rowley's Papi Show, and that is with the COVID-19 committee. And of course, you can catch that by none other than the distinguished, honorable political leader of the United National Congress, Mrs. the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. So remember, Archie will put a number on the screen. You could WhatsApp that number where you will be able to secure your copy of the Douglas Report on a weekly basis. So all you have to do is to text to this number on the screen here, and your copy will be coming straight to your home, in your car, on your job. Anywhere you are, your copy will be coming to meet you on your device. So that's the Douglas Report. Of course, as I said, it is all about facts. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get into today's proceedings, I want to focus a bit on that Debe South seat. That Debe South seat
the councillor for that area passed away, is it about 2 years, Archie? All right, close to 2 years. And the opposition advocated to the government to have that seat from the local standpoint filled. This wicked government, ladies and gentlemen, left the people of Debe South without any form of representation for almost 2 years. No representation. Letters sent. Letters went. Letters go. But yet, to the end of the day, the government left this electoral district without representation for almost 2 years. Where is the democracy in this country? Where democracy gone to in this country? Ladies and gentlemen, I am yet to understand. I am trying hard to understand why in this country today that the people, why we are so complacent with the affairs of our country. Why we have allowed a government to breach and to break and to misuse and to abuse our democracy. And we are so quiet in this country. Tomorrow on the Monday night virtual, I will develop and deal with the aspect of democracy a little more. But my question is why we as a people would allow a government that the people elected into office to represent, to uphold our constitution. Why would we allow a government to trample upon the constitution, which is the rights of us as citizens? This government have broken every fundamental aspect of the constitution. They have removed the checks and balances. They have implemented whatever they choose to. They have put in place whatever they want to. They have done with our rights whatever King Rowley say. And yet this country still remains dormant. dormant. I think I can clearly understand I believe I have understood why we as a people spend so many years in captivity. I think that I, as an individual who have looked into the historical events, of slavery, and the mentality that continues to affect us today. I always wonder why my ancestors will travel through the forests of Africa and seek to cage my brothers and sisters, bring them to the point where they are sold to foreign investors to become slaves. I always look at the historical events surrounding, trying to have a proper understanding where we were at one time, to have a clear knowledge of where we are today. And when I look, ladies and gentlemen, into the depths of understanding where I came from, I see clearly today that the behavior of my ancestors who caught us and have us to be sold as slaves, I have seen today the traits, the behavior of that now reflect in what we now call a political party in Trinidad and Tobago. I am seeing a party that continues to keep my brothers and sisters, a party who continue to circle us, gather us together, and put us in areas not to be sold, but to live as though we are still in slavery. When I look to Mother Africa and I ask Mother Africa, what went wrong? I can only understand what happened back then when I compare what is going on now, when I see, ladies and gentlemen, when I look into this government, and when I examine 47 years of African power, 47 years of African accountability, what I see is 47 years of African slavery. I have seen a government that uses our votes to provide for those who do not even resemble us. I have seen a government that uses the votes of us to enrich, to protect, to finance, to build individuals who doesn't resemble you and me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen what had happened back in Africa. I am seeing a reincarnation of that same behavior and situation today before our face and before our eyes, by those who have caught us back in Africa. I am seeing today that the offspring of those individuals continue to keep us in captivity. I know that sometimes when I speak, I know that some of my African brothers and sisters, they are offended. I know sometimes when you hear my voice, it cut your hearts simply because you want to be blind to the truth. Simply because, ladies and gentlemen, when I speak with you, I speak and bring the facts of reality that you can sit in your homes, in your cars, in your gardens, anywhere, and examine what I am saying. And if I am not bringing the facts to you, ladies and gentlemen, then I will ask you to type on this live and say to me, Victor Roberts, shut your mouth because you are telling untruth. When you examine 47 years of our government, 47 years of African rule, 47 years of black African rule, as some of you like to put it, 47 years of Keith Rowley, 47 years of Fitzgerald Hines, 47 years of Camille Robertson Regis, 47 years of Penelope Beckers, 47 years of Brian Manning, 47 years, and these names that I am using is in a symbolic way for you to understand that I am speaking about African rule for 47 years in our beautiful republic, Twin Island, Trinidad and Tobago. The rule, when money was floating, money was traveling in plane to Guyana and other parts of the Caribbean, Money was traveling in suitcase to Panama by the O'Hallorans. The $2 bill could not be accounted for. Money was flying like a jet. And when the duck tell you that money is no problem in Trinidad and Tobago, I want to ask my parents, Mommy and my deceased father, were you folks benefiting from the wealth of the country back then? How come we had to live in an unfinished house from my tender age all the way up to somewhere about 17 or 18 years? How come, Mommy and Daddy, how come we had to sleep? And how come within our village there was so much poverty under the government that looks like me? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to face reality. I know that there are those within the PNM who hates me. I know that there are those who call me all type of names. I know that there are those who wish that I do not live to see tomorrow. But as the Apostle Paul said, that none of these things move me, neither do I count my life dear. Let me just explain what I know. What I now say to you. When Paul said that none of these things move him, he was under persecution from the Roman Empire. They wanted to cut his head off. And the reason they wanted to murder the Apostle Paul is because he was bringing the truth, and the Romans could not stand the truth. Today, they call me all kind of names because I am bringing the truth to you, the people, so that you could understand that what has happened to you over the years by this government that pretends, this government who pretend it love you, this government who pretends it care about you. What has happened to us over the years was clearly a case of misuse and abuse for political power so that they could enrich themselves and keep those who are their friends and their financiers rich with the wealth that belongs to you, the poor, the needy, and the oppressed in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, while there are those who I consider to be the house Negroes, I will share a little with you about the house Negroes. Back in the days of slavery, the house Negroes used to consider themselves better than us. The house Negroes, they used to believe that they are superior to those of us who work in the field. And even though when they cook massa lunch, they themselves were not able to partake of what massa was partaking of, yet still they hold themselves in high esteem. Today in our reality, there are those who might be better off than you. There are those who may live in a concrete structure while you live in board. There are those who live in concrete structure when you live in ply. And they are the ones, because of connection, because of some opportunity that come their way through some sort of connection, they will say to you that you African boys and girls, that you don't want anything. They will say that you are lazy. They will condemn you in every aspect because they have something, because an opportunity, an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, come their way by some connection. They are the ones who condemn you. They are the ones who say all manner of evil against you. They are the ones that must be considered as the house Negroes, because they are the ones that will lift the PNM up on a high pinnacle. They are the ones that will try to convince you to lift the PNM up so they can be above you. While they use you to lift the PNM up, you still live in the bottom of the pit. Slavery without shackles. They will use you by giving some amongst you a few CPEP dollars, a few ULP dollars, and they give them just enough to survive, but yet still keep wanting. Because when those CPEP workers collect their salaries and they go to the supermarket, they cannot pay their bills after they buy food. Some of them cannot pay their rent. And so sometimes they juggle what is more important. So I will pay the rent today and survive on quicks this week. I will pay the rent today and I will pay something on the utility bill. I will pay the rent today, but me and the kids will survive on quicks because the internet bill have to pay, because some of us are still concerned about the education for our children. So the government, they put a system in place, and that system is a system that keeps you just above water. They keep you just above water because they will convince you that if you are not with with me, then you are against me. I remember 2 CPEP individuals who supported me for the 2015 election in Labour. 2020, sorry. And you know what happened? They were fired because they exercised their constitutional rights. They exercise what we supposed to have as our democracy, and they pay a price for exercising their constitutional rights. Both of them were fired because they work with me for the 2020 election. That is how the game continued to play by 47 years of what you believe is yours. Yeah. You believe that this government is your government. You believe that, ladies and gentlemen, simply because there is a color that continues to defy you, yet still making you believe that you are important. I have seen, ladies and gentlemen, a few people say to me, Victor, I have to support the PNM, because if I don't support the PNM, how would I support my family? Is that democracy? Is that what the Constitution have placed there for us to live by? That if I support anything other than this party, I am being victimized and cut off from sustenance, where I cannot provide for my family, where I cannot send my children to school. That is slavery. That is slavery. That is the behavior of the slave master. That is where the government, your people's national movement government, that is where they keep you every time, all the time. Some of you continue to die supporting that party while living in hell. Living in literal hell. Huh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what is happening. What is wrong with you people that you cannot open your eyes to see? There was a good song. Can't remember the name, but hear how the song go. Open your eyes and see what is happening to me. Know that song? Long time when you're in love and you hear that song playing, you're crying with a baby. If you had to take some saliva and put it in your eye, you're crying because you want to keep your baby. Here, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something today. I cannot understand how all you're crying, all you're bawling, all you're screaming, and all you're still holding on to that PNM. All you're crying, bawling, screaming, nothing in the sugar pan, the flour pan empty, the milk pan dry. I think it was Shadow who sing it. Poverty is hell. Or you're living below poverty. And yet, some of you screaming for the PNM. But I don't blame all you. I am not here to condemn you all. I am not here to blame you. I am not here to condemn you because you follow the principles of your mommy and your daddy. Because you follow the principles of grandmama and grandpapa. I am not here to pull you down and to beat you. I am here to open your eyes so that you can see the enemy, that you can see that you have been living over 47 years of slavery. I am here to open your eyes so that you can see your condition. The condition that this government not only keep you in, but the condition that your life continues to perish under these people. What is wrong with you, Trinidad and Tobago? Trinidad, what is wrong? Is it my voice? Is it because it is not loud enough? Do I need to scream in your ear? Do I need to open your eye and sew the lids on your eyebrows so you could truly see the enemy? The enemy, they are able to keep you in what we call the dependency syndrome. That you have to depend on a hamper, you have to depend on a CPAP, you have to depend on a 10 days, you have to depend. Listen, I am here to remove you from depending on those who abuse you. I am here to remove you, Trinidad, from those who kept you living down in the gutter. I am here to help you to come out from below that poverty line. That line of destruction that this Skid Rowley administration have kept you and ensure that you remain there. When you hear a minister who knows the population of individuals that live in a certain geography of this country, and she could stand in the parliament and say nobody lives there. That is to tell you the kind of consideration that they have for you, that they count you as nobody and they count you as people who do not exist. How much more wretched, how much more evil, how much more abusive could that be in our society? How much more? Let me drink some quick water. Let me drink some quick water and I'll be right back.
Let us stand.
My brothers and my sisters, what would it take for you to see the reality? What would it take for you to understand that this government, they are your demise? We in Labre, with so many natural resources, we have asphalt, we have a deep water harbor, we have Station Beach where international ships would have come to collect our asphalt. We have oil, we have gas. We ought to be, we should have been the capital of South. From 1956, with the exception of 1986, when Albert Richards won for the NAR, we have supported, we have voted, we have lived with and for the PNM. I am seeing today that some individuals, because they were able to get a walk, yes, a walk, because they were able to get a work, because of a connection with an MP, I have seen that these same individuals have now become house Negroes. They are now telling their brothers and sisters who's suffering, who's starving, who living on pitch, who living in plywood. God forbid, some of them sleeping on ply. And because of a connection that some individuals get a job, they are now promoting their same brothers who eating pitch to survive to vote for PNM. You see where the evil, comes from. The evil comes from the party. You know why? What they do is that they look within the communities and they pinpoint those who within the community have some sort of authority, and they pull them in. They give them a walk. Yes, a walk. No permanent job, a walk. And they use them to infiltrate the rest of the society who is crying out for help, to let them know help is coming, even though that individual knows that what he or she, what they are doing is simply, ladies and gentlemen, lying and betraying the rest of the community. You see, I could talk from experience. Not too far, I was offered 60 pep gangs by a particular minister. And I sit right here and I said to that minister that with Victor Roberts, loyalty have no price. I have seen men just like me, men who sit in a chair at some point in time, men who stood out for the poor and the oppressed at some given time. I have seen those individuals sell out the people for a few dollars more. You're talking about house Negroes? I see men who were supporting and speaking in favor of the UNC. I see men who were speaking against the PNM justifiably because of the evil of the PNM. I have seen these men change their tongue for a few rotten dollars. They have changed their tongue for a few rotten dollars. Huh. That is what we do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the offspring. It is that behavior from back in Africa where my brothers and sisters would have seek to catch me, to sell me as a slave for a few dollars more. I have seen the behavior of people in this country who will sell their mother for a few dollars more. Some of them will sell their wife just for a few dollars. That is the type of evil that we have in this society, who proclaim themselves as leaders of the poor and the oppressed. I have seen men speak boldfacedly. I have seen men who talk openly, and yet to the end of the day, for a few dollars, they will turn around and they will put you in the cage. That is what they do to you. I stood on the Hall of Justice step and I prayed 5 times a day, sincerely from what God has put within me. And that is with my spirit, my mind, and my heart. And up comes a slave catcher who will try to have me arrested simply because I decide that I would stand up for justice in our country. You know why? Because that slave catcher is what you will call a house Negro. That slave catcher have a job, and that slave catcher have a job to remove people like me who will stand for the poor and the oppressed in society. How much, ladies and gentlemen? How much is your price? What is your price to sell out your own brother and sister? What is your price to keep your brother and sister in bondage? What is your price to propagate a message that will destroy the future generation? What is your price? I ask you tonight. You see, Jesus chose 12 disciples. And even while he chose the 12, he knew that there were one amongst the 12 that was a slave catcher. He knew that there was one amongst the 12 who will sell him out for 30 pieces of silver. Today, I ask my African brothers and sisters, how much pieces of silver would you take to sell me out? How much pieces of silver would you take to betray my loyalty to you? How much pieces of silver would you take to betray this UNC party? A party that will stand in the gap for each and every individual. It matters not your ethnicity. It matters not your religion. Let me tell you something. My leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who some of y'all believe that she is a weak leader. Some of you believe that her time has since expired. Some of you sell information to the enemies from within this party. But today I have some news for you. You are unable to break my leader. You are unable to trample my leader. My leader have stood and withstood the test of time. My leader walked through the pit of fire and came out on the other side unswinged. You know why? Because the heart that the Creator placed in this woman is a heart where you does not have control over. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. You know why? You all who were saying that she weak. You know why you were saying that? Y'all was saying that because she have shown some kind of sympathy to have you around her. Because she was showing sympathy and having you around, while she knows that you was the weak link within the chain. You see, compassion is a hell of a thing. Compassion is something else. When you are compassionate, you know that there are enemies around you, but yet you are able to keep them at a distance with your eye on them. While you believe that you getting your job done to get rid of my leader eyes were on you, knowing exactly what you were doing. And so she allowed it to run and run while she prepare the track so that you will run for yourself straight over that precipice. And that is what some of you, that is what you have done. Well, today, I am saying to you, I am saying to all of you who have tried, who make every effort to undermine the leadership of this great party, today I am saying that a branch, an olive branch, is still being extended to you to come back home. Come back home. Come back home, because you cannot, you will not survive politically, because those who have assisted you to undermine and to betray the leadership of the UNC, they themselves now watch at you as traitors. But come back home. This leader heart is big enough to forgive you. This leader have enough compassion. This leader is willing to forgive. Come back home. Come back home and let us save Trinidad and Tobago. Come back, let we fight together. Come back, let we stand together. Come back, let we rejoice together. The victory is there. You know why? Because Kamla Prasad Bisesa, that woman there, have a connection with the Creator that you may never understand. Let me tell you something. When a woman could come to the power doors, the corridor of power, and take every opportunity to help the poor and the oppressed, and to provide and to build a society, and to build and to have the children educated, and to do everything possible to help the underprivileged, whether you are suffering with cerebral palsy or whether you are autistic or what have you. And this woman went out and created a children's life fund to help those children who need operation. This woman is a woman that have a connection with the Creator. And you cannot fight against God's anointing. You cannot destroy those who God lift up, those who God put to lead. You cannot destroy. I am telling you, come back home. Come back home. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm watching the clock and the time running like a getaway horse. But let me tell you something. DB South, Kemraj is the man. That is the man to bring home the seat. And I want to tell you something. There is a PNMB team. Actually, we are the PNMB team, man. There. We have a PNMB team. This PNMB team, this Lorenzo Sami, PEP, let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. Every individual in this country know that a third party have no say. We could fool ourselves, we could smile, we could dress up, we could use opportunity as opportunists, whether we want to use a young girl debt, whatever we want to use. All third party in this country dead. They are the PNM B team. That is what they are. Nothing else. We had NJAC, a real African roots party emanating out of this country. And when NJAC realized that all they were getting from this society was talk, and that is the same thing that you will get from any third party. All third parties, they are PNM, B team, coming to try to interfere with the UNC vote to see if they could give the PNM the victory. And I dare any leader of any third party to challenge me and prove to me one seat that they could take from the PNM, or one seat they could take from the UNC. I challenge you. You cannot take an iota of a seat from the PNM nor from the UNC. So all you stop fooling all your idiotic self and coming in disguise to feel all you could help the PNM to win. You see, the PNM have a way. I hear Hines, Fitzgerald Hines, talking the other day about dirty dollars. You see, the PNM know how to pay dirty dollars. And them third party leaders know how to collect dirty dollars. So you will always find that they will always try to come to weaken the UNC to give the PNM the opportunity to win. But I want to tell you something in Debe South. That ain't working here tonight. You could do what you want. It's licks, and more licks. You know why? Because the people eyes, their eyes are now beginning to open. So they could see the PNM for what it is, and they could see the third party for what they are. You hear what I say? They could see the PNM for what it is, and they could see them third party for what they are. I want to borrow Chambers' words. Not a damn seat for any third party in this country. You want to fix the country? Join with the majority which is in opposition, and let us sit together and fix the thing where this country could benefit from a leader. And let me tell you this one time. Let me tell you this. You see, all of you who feel that all you could rule and run the UNC, I admire all you. I have no problem with all you. But I want to tell all you one thing. When this party have an eternal election, each and everyone is welcome to put their hat in the ring. And let me tell you something that all you don't know. When the membership choose, Victor Roberts will obey. But outside of that, it have no stepping down from Kamala. It have no jumping through the window. It have no uncovering the roof and come through a galvanized. It have a process in the UNC to become the leader. And when you go through that process and you become the leader, look your warrior, look your fighter, look the man who in fear, look the fearless warrior here. And I will stand with the leader of this party on every occasion. Once the leader seeks the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I, Victor Alexander Roberts, will be your servant, your fighter, and I will fight like I accustomed. Time gone. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Join us tomorrow night on the virtual report, where you will hear from Mr. Sicharan, the candidate for Debe South, Dr. Munilal. You will also be hearing from a prominent attorney, Mrs. Lakshmi Diyal. You will also hear from yours truly, the fighter. And then the curtains will come down with my leader, my fighter, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa. I thank you. Stay blessed. Stay safe. I go on. Good night.
Yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light.
Everyone's coming out to bring about change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, one top government to feel policy, a government to the joke, a government to the fight. A government to the school, a government with integrity. Oh, look how they understand. A government in city and tea, no without the bullet man, everybody. PNM must go. Tell them go. PNM must go.